Welcome back. I am Ben Eubanks, host of HR Tech Talks. I'm so glad to have you here with us. Welcome. As always, if you're watching live, thank you so much. If you're watching the replay, catching us later on, does not matter to me. Just chime in, let us know where you're listening in from. Love to hear from you and love to hear maybe something you're excited about now that we're in the new year. Welcome to it, by the way. So it's a new year, new season of the show, new episodes, whatever you want to call it, and new opportunities to learn about the tools, the technologies, the resources that are out there to help HR and talent and learning leaders be better at the work that they do every single day. So I'm so glad to have you here. If you've never been seen an episode of HR Tech Talks before, it's just we run this live show every week, and so stay tuned, follow the show, stick around. We'd love to have you participate, chime in, listen, learn all alongside us. So I'm learning as you are as well. So it's just a ton of fun. All right, so a couple of quick announcements before we dive into this. First episode of the year, as I mentioned, our awards program is open again, hrtechawards.org. I'll make sure and get that link into the comments later on so you can see that if you haven't already seen the website there. So it allows us to look at some of the tools, the technologies that are out there. We talk to these companies all the time on the show here, but that allows us to actually vet them with an independent panel of judges and try to make some actual selections for this is the best tool for enterprise learning. This is the best tool for using AI for talent acquisition purposes and all those kinds of things. So it's a ton of fun. Really enjoy getting to run that program. So hrtechawards.org is that website. And without any further ado, let's dive into the conversation today. So I have with me the president and chief revenue officer for MapRecruit. We're going to dive into frictionless recruiting. We're going to talk about how companies can stand out. I have, even over the holidays, have seen so many conversations in the last month about companies trying to attract, trying to engage, trying to convert people in the market to become applicants and candidates and employees at their companies. It's a different kind of world out there. So they're looking for ways to do that. So we're going to talk to, again, the team over at MapRecruit, understand how we're doing that. And I've got Swamy here waiting in the wings. I'm going to bring him up. Let's dive into the conversation. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you.
Hey, Ben, first of all, Happy New Year. And it is a great to see Happy 2022 with you in this show. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I'm so glad to have you here with us and looking forward to mining your brain for some ideas and thoughts and insights that can help companies that are out there as they're struggling through some of these kinds of things and thinking through how to solve those problems. But before we get to that, would you take a second and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, please?
Yeah, thank you. So we are a MapRecruit, a AI-based, comprehensive, end-to-end talent acquisition platform. And I emphasize end-to-end because talent acquisition can have various parts. And people say, hey, we can do a sourcing, we can do matching, we can do engaging, we can do qualify, but we are completely taking everybody in the journey of talent acquisition, right from the job positioning till the onboarding. And to give you a little bit about our company, we are in 22 countries right now. The product is already positioned. And because our mantra is frictionless recruiting, so our conversational chatbot is using 105 languages. And our platform itself can support 30 plus languages. So we just want anybody can use the platform, not having any friction to use the platform and apply and also get recruited by all these companies.
Wow. Okay. So many questions I want to ask you. I guess the first one, just kind of a low-hanging fruit. We talked about companies are struggling with this right now, right? And you said companies are trying to think about how to do this better. And I'd love to hear from you. What is frictionless recruiting? How would you define that for the people that are out there listening to this? Because that's a great tagline, I think, but how would you define it?
So frictionless recruiting is depending upon different lens of the person who is applying as well as the person who is recruiting. So let me take both lens. So if I'm a company or if I'm a hiring manager or recruiter, I really want to use this platform from the frictionless, saying that I'm only focusing on what is the role I have to fill in, who is the best fit, irrespective of their gender or the caste or the creed or the location or the language they speak. If I want somebody, just an example, if I'm looking for a forklift operator, or if I'm looking for a Java programmer, we can do anything. You focus only on the deliverables and see whoever is available in the market is good fit, irrespective of where they are.
Mhm.
From the job seeker perspective, they just need to look at it. Because of this COVID pandemic and all, you can really work from anywhere in the world as long as you meet the timelines and you meet the focus on the job what you are supposed to be doing. And if you feel you have a qualifications, nothing should not matter that okay, you don't have a smartphone so I cannot attend an interview. You can do via texting. Oh, I have a smartphone but I don't have something else in front of the laptop. You can do a chat bot. So we are giving all the tools and technologies to the job seeker so that they can really do their own branding with a focus of what can be delivered for the requirement what the company is looking to hire. So that is where we are completely removing all the frictions from the job seeker perspective, hiring manager perspective, giving them a complete explainable transformation and transparent information to them so that they can all have a candid discussion and say, hey, this person is really suitable. Oh, okay, maybe this company is really suitable. I am up for it.
I'm so glad you broke that out into different personas, because when I was asking the question, I'm imagining that you're going to respond on the candidate side, because that's where we always talk about how to make this easy for them. And that's absolutely important. I actually had a conversation last year with a handful of companies in the construction space, and they're recruiting for people, and the tools they were using to recruit at that time were not mobile friendly. And so they were turning away the vast majority of the candidates who might be interested in working for them, because in order to apply for the job, you had to go to a physical computer somewhere and actually do that application online. And so we're talking about the importance of that. And so I always think about it through that lens, but we also need to be careful about and considerate of the time of our hiring managers, as you mentioned, the time that we're spending as recruiting leaders, the time that we're investing into this, because the more time we're spending churning our wheels, the less time we're spending actually doing the things that add value, like having conversations with candidates and trying to move them through the workflow towards an actual offer, towards a start date, towards onboarding, and all the things that come after that. So I'm so glad you brought up that different persona, because we probably were thinking, most people probably were thinking the same way I was. We need to be considerate of the other pieces of that, because otherwise we're going to, if it's a great experience for candidates, but it takes us twice as long to get through the process, that's not a winning proposition.
No, I think I know. I'm glad you mentioned the personas which I have told. So I'm looking at multiple personas. One is the job seeker persona. One is the recruiter persona. Because in a recruiter, they do a lot of the mundane operations. In an 8-hour given day, they always love to spend either time with the job seeker or the hiring manager to understand more about the job or understand about the candidate. But majority of their time is being spent on the mundane operations, which can be completely automated. And look at the hiring manager is most of the time is a business function head. He has to deliver and he has some recruitment opportunities, but then he may not have all the time to spend the quality time either with the business or the seekers, but they may be wasting time in collating the data and writing something which is really not required. So that's why the hiring manager persona, the recruiter persona, and the job seeker persona, each one can get almost, I would say, minimum 5 times to 10 times efficiency increase through our platform.
Goodness. One of the things I want you to speak to this one, because I've seen some conversations about this, about when the tools are smarter too. It's not just a raw list of jobs that I'm going to apply for as a candidate, but it actually may be I apply for one and it knows that about me, and it knows it knows what types of skills I have, or it knows what other roles might be relevant to me. It's not asking me if I want to be a dishwasher, or if I want to be I'm trying to think of some other irrelevant job, a garbage collector, right? Those are fine professions, but I am a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a researcher, and it's not going to offer me those things because it doesn't align with the skills that I have or any jobs I've applied for in the past. That's another piece probably as well that I would imagine is fitting into this bucket of making it frictionless, because if I have to wade through all that stuff, I'll just bail and go somewhere else instead of actually applying for that job. And that's it doesn't matter how many jobs a candidate looks at on the website. If they don't apply and give you the information, you're missing out.
No, absolutely. I think you brought a very interesting point, which we are helping our customers. So what we are doing is through our platform, we are enhancing their company's career sites. So when a career site is increased with our platform, if a job seeker is coming, and in your case example, let's say I am a sales guy and I'm applying for a sales job because I already went into that particular company, I went into their career site and applied, then immediately our platform, our chatbot will come into play and say, hey, Dr. Joe, your resume is really good, and this is the position you are applying, and this is the interview slot. If you want to do pre-qualifying round, you can go. However, based on your resume, we understand you also have 10 years of accounting experience, and we do have some jobs in this area, because we are able to automatically understand the location and all wherever, based on the resume and based on where their person is calling or chatting. We know, okay, you are enrolled in North Carolina, there are some accounting jobs, are you interested here? So we'll be giving all those information right there to the job seeker, so that they can apply to multiple jobs if they are qualified enough based on their experience. So absolutely, so they also can switch their gears, the job profession.
So you have the perspective of looking across all these customers that you're working with.
Mhm.
And I'm curious, the ones that are really killing it, the ones that are really knocking it out of the park, whatever metaphor you want to use, what are they doing differently from other companies, whether it's in your customers or it's just in the open market? What are they doing differently, the ones that are getting better results when it comes to recruiting right now?
Absolutely. It's a very good question, and that is where I'm happy that we are working with our customers combinedly and coming up with this new recipe. See, predominantly, what is happening for all the customers is they are always, I would say, call post a job and pray for the candidates to apply, right? Post and pray. And once the candidate apply, they go to a legacy method. By the time they get an email and the chat and all, it is going to take long time. If you look at it, current market, there is a great resignation. There is so many people are available, so many jobs are available, but you are not able to really get the right talent. The way how we are identifying is based on the rule, our platform, we are able to go and find the candidates and interacting them directly, saying that, hey, there is a job and you are qualified, do you want to do? So we are really probing the candidate, telling them you have a job, you are absolutely meeting the requirements what the company is looking for, you want to really work with us. And we are giving them not only that, multiple channels. If you are interested, connect with us via SMS or a text or a WhatsApp. WhatsApp has become more and more predominant. Or you just take a phone and call us, whatever the time you are in, because now we are at a global scale. You are in a California, and then the job may be in the East Coast, and you might have seen your 5 p.m. of the PST, which is already 8 p.m. in the EST, but still you can make a call and then somebody will be there, because that is the power of the technology which we are giving. So the fundamental thing is, if you really want a right resource, engaging that resource right, and when you identify, start there and be with that resource or the job seeker till you onboard. So the engagement piece is missing. So there are new
Mhm.
ways of approaching, engaging, enriching, and giving them that comfort of why they should be coming, giving them more about the company information, giving more about their skill set, why they feel confident, so that it is a more conversational and we are acting right there, not waiting for a week to come back. Okay, you are in the line, we will, we always listen to one sentence anywhere, right? You are in the line, we will be get back into you the order we received. But now I have a multiple channels. If I have 10 people, I have 10 lines open. Why should somebody wait?
Mhm. Yes. Okay. You said the engagement piece is missing there. And one of the things that occurs to me is, so the second edition of my book is coming out soon, which I'm so excited about. But the first edition, I finished it, and the publisher came back and said, we need 500 more words for some reason. And so I was looking around for a news piece that I could comment on and bring that into it. And I found a piece in The Guardian that said, job hunting in the age of AI is, I quote, grim and dehumanizing. And I think part of that is because companies are using it only to automate, and they're overlooking that engagement piece you're talking about. What's your thought on that?
See, that's a great thing you said, dehumanizing. I don't believe that. What I believe is we are giving the enhanced experience to everyone. If I'm a recruiter, I always want to spend 8 hours of my time talking to the people, either the job seeker or hiring manager, rather than collating the data from the spreadsheet. So that's why I say, for me, if I'm Swamy, I need my digital Swamy. So Swamy plus digital Swamy is, almost you are giving exponential, not just a Swamy square, but it is Swamy to the power of n, depending upon how much force you have. So that is the experience which I'm expecting, and we are giving that to all the people in this industry, so that don't worry that AI is eliminating your jobs. You need to use AI as you are a digital assistant to do all the work which you really hate to do. Why someone should be working 8 hours copying the data and then typing the data entry? That can be done by the automation. You focus on enhancing, spending your, the warmth of the time, just like how you and I are spending a quality time. They should be talking more about uh, bringing their EQ, the emotional quotient, giving more information about it, and building the relationship. All those things you cannot be done by the bots. The human element is always required. Only the bot can help you to see how can you use your exponentially your efficiency.
I'm making some notes over here on this one. I love that, because one of the questions I want to ask you about was balancing the human piece and the automation or the AI piece in that process, because unfortunately, I've yet to meet a company that has unlimited budget to hire as many recruiters as they need to talk to every candidate. Right? That company doesn't exist. And if it does, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you, because that'd be a great case study.
Yeah.
But all of us, in my time recruiting, right? And the people I saw, Josh in the comments earlier, someone's listening in live. Josh is a recruiter, right? The people who have spent time recruiting know that you can't do that. You have to prioritize who you engage with and who you talk to. And so, will you talk about that a little bit, about how we can use AI to prioritize or to spend the right time with people? Could you talk about giving every candidate a better experience? And I believe that. I'm an optimist. I believe that it's possible to do that with technology. But where does that break point come where they say, okay, this is where a human needs to step in. This is where the critical engagement point is. This is where the magic formula says, right here is where we step in, so that we don't lose them, but we also are creating the right experience all the way up to that point. That's a really long question, but you get what I'm trying to get at, I think.
No, absolutely. I think, that's why we kind of created a wheel of fortune. If you look at it, our platform, we have created the sourcing. The sourcing piece is very critical. So the moment you have a requirement, the sourcing, our engine will enable, and then it will identify, based on our deep dive knowledge graph, who are the right candidates. So we have built that depth of the information, so that we really know, if you're looking for a particular role, who are those candidates available. And then, let's say, for example, if you're looking for again a forklift operator, and you have a 500 resumes, how many of those people are really suitable? So we have a matching and ranking piece, which will be going to fetch all those resumes from all your databases or the job boards, and then it will scan through and give you a matching and ranking. So once you already know that, let's say, top 50 people are matching 99% or above, then you really want to engage them. Till that time, all these operations are happening automatically. Recruiter is just creating a campaign in our world, which is, okay, I want to fill this job description. You're creating a job description. Our platform is knowing all the ontology based on the knowledge graph, and it is able to fetch the candidates. Now our chatbot is reaching out to all the candidates and saying that, okay, you are really good. At that time, we are probing those candidates and saying that, okay, you are really ready to come back and apply, because we have a great job in XYZ company. Are you interested? The moment they say, that is the time where you really want to keep the hold. You can use the automation to get the pre-qualifying round, but immediately you can schedule a interview with a recruiter or the hiring managers, where the live person can come in and then talk the information. So in a window of 8 hours, if my platform is able to do the sourcing and matching and then engaging, all these 8 hours, probably 99% of their efficiency will be fulfilled to engage the job seeker right away, because all the other operations are already being done by our AI engine.
So you used a word a minute ago, and I want to throw a flag and come back to that one, because you and I, as let's call it like this, data nerds, right? We probably understand what an ontology is, but some of the recruiters I talk to they wouldn't get that at first. You throw that out there, they're not sure what that is. But so explain really quickly, if you don't mind, what an ontology is, because you said the knowledge graph, the ontology. Can you give just a bit of insight into what that is, so they can understand? Because you talked about the outcome, right, of saying this matches that person to that job, and that's the outcome we're looking for. But give me a little insight into what the ontology piece is so they can get how that works.
So basically, we have built the knowledge graph and the ontology. So what I mean to say is that when a recruiter is saying if they don't have the industry experience, if I am planning to hire a chef, the chef in the restaurant industry is completely different from a chef in the IT industry. But then how do you know? They all look similar, they sound similar, they spell similar if the recruiter does not know who it is. So that is where our platform, we really have cleared out, okay, this is coming from the recruiting industry based on the knowledge graph. This stuff is meant for, I'm really looking for a specialist cook. And this chef is really, I'm looking for a DevOps person. So similarly, if I'm looking for any data engineer, there are so many synonymical names are there. Typically, a recruiter does not know. What they do is they only do Boolean search. Oh, okay, this and this will be getting. But then they have a family name. It's almost like, in a very layman terms, I would say the ontology is something like a family tree, so that everyone has a combination of it. But you don't need to know all the combination, because if you know all that, you become a nerd and you don't want to do a recruiter job, you want to do something else. So to simplify that, we have taken all that pains to go through all that ontology, which is nothing a family tree of different profession, different titles based on the different industries. That is where, again, the knowledge graph is depending upon that deep domain experience. So if someone is there in a travel industry, all the terminology is completely different. Someone is there in the recruiting industry, the terminology is different. Someone in the airline industry, we are helping a very huge big airline across the globe to recruit people through our platform, so their terminology is different. So when a recruiter is looking for, if he's changing all the industry, he or she, they need to know about those terms. But when they come to our platform, all those operations can be taken care by the AI. They focus on hiring these beautiful cabin crew or the ground crew or whoever they really want to work with, depending upon the roles.
I love that. Okay. I love the metaphor of the family tree too. I've never heard that one, but I think that's a great way of making it kind of visible to people and help make it kind of tangible, because the idea of it, again, ontology, I talk about it when we're talking about how to understand skills across, different contexts and how to use those in the use cases. We get these skills are associated with this job or this training program or whatever else, and how to make that more tangible and applicable for people. So I love the metaphor there. One other thing I want to ask you before we start looking for towards the wrap up is kind of in sync with some of those other parts you were talking about. Part of the challenge in the open market right now is if I talk about AI in the hiring process, everybody's worried about bias, or everybody wants to know about, but what's the algorithm doing? How do I know? It just, you put a bunch of resumes in and it spits one out and says, this is the best person. And how do we know they're truly the best person? So talk about openness. Talk about, because I know you have a different approach to this. And I think it's a really interesting example of how companies can look to a provider that's thinking differently about that challenge.
Thank you for asking. So everybody knows about the black box, because most of the people know when the AI and ML says, oh, we don't know what is really going up, what is cooking up, what somebody is really feeding. How do I believe it? How do I know he's the right person or she's the right person? Is it really fit or not? So that's why what we use is called white glove or white box, because the white box is, everything is very much transparent and very much visible. So if I'm hiring some XYZ person for this particular role, we are giving something called explainable AI. What does it mean is, we are able to take out all this job description, the roles, not the name, not the college, not the grades, whatever is the critical component which hiring manager is looking to perform this role. Once we are hiring that particular person, that person is able to match those things in terms of the experience or in terms of the work they have done, only to the role specific. Because if I'm hiring a fresher, it is a different thing altogether. If I'm hiring an experienced role for this particular, they want to see whether have you done this particular job. If you have done this particular job, how it is, only those things are there. And it is very much visible, all the skills, all the operations, everything is being completely laid out in deep root level, and that can be audited. So that any enterprise company want to do a diversity and inclusion and say, hey, I'm hiring so and so people, how do you do the audit? Why are you so biased? we are absolutely can give this platform can give you a transparent information saying that, on this basis we have really heard, not because this is some XYZ person or because it is a she we hired, because we want to do, everything is there. On top of it, most of these AIs are supervised learning. So when you say supervised learning, you already have a conscious bias in you and you are teaching someone. In our case, we are using completely unsupervised learning. That means based on the patterns are generated, based on the need, based on the requirement, based on the profiles, how we are able to pull in. So we use all those combinations so that everything is trackable, everything is openness with a transparency, all the data is visible, and we can present it to anybody so that you are in a position to hire the most suitable person depending upon the qualifications which you are looking for and the qualification the job seeker is possessing at that particular time.
What's interesting to me is we started the conversation talking about being frictionless, being more efficient, using your time more effectively. But this is something that we just can't do as well, right? This is something that creates an outcome better than even a really good recruiter, creates an outcome better than even that really good recruiter can get to. Because, like it or not, every time we look at any piece of information, we have a lens of bias over it. Doesn't matter how much training you receive, doesn't matter, right? What you have some layer of bias over it. It's just what you are as a human. It's who we are. And so to say we're going to use these tools to try to strip that away and try to get away from it, is anything ever 100% bias free? Probably not. But is it less biased than me looking at this, even if I have an intent of not being? Yes, it is. So I love that piece of it. And I'm so glad we had a chance to get to that, because I think that's a critical part of this bigger picture. And it's kind of, I ran a session last month called Myth Busting in AI, because one of the big myths is that all AI is biased and all AI is, going to lead to bad outcomes. And the truth is, it can actually lead to better and more equitable outcomes if it's being used in the manner you're talking about there, where it looks at those things like skills and other pieces of information that are unbiased to allow us to make those decisions. So if someone's interested in this, they've enjoyed the conversation like I have, they want to learn more about MapRecruit, where would you point them, Swamy?
So it's a simple www.maprecruit.ai.
All right, easy peasy. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a ton of fun.
It's very easy, and check out our case studies. A lot of the industries we are completely transforming them to help them to cut down the overall cycle of the recruitment process itself, because a lot of the information is available. As the data is available, hiring manager doesn't need to do 3 rounds of interviews if the recruiter is already done. So all this information is there, and we are also using our emotional quotient. So there are a lot of great things we are doing in the platform, and we are coming up in 2022 a new version of chatbot which will be giving more and more transparency, which we'll be announcing soon. And all our platforms are available on Android and iPhone as well. We want to basically not only just to say frictionless recruiting, frictionless everywhere in the entire process. Even using MapRecruit, you should not have a friction. Job hunting or job hiring should not be a problem or a headache. It should be very simple and easy so that people can focus on what needs to be done. For example, in the last 2 years, we are all working to help the healthcare professionals to be available to get our vaccines in time, because it is a record time. All our vaccines are available. For that, you really need to recruit people. If you don't have this scalable platform like MapRecruit, it would be very challenging to hire thousands of healthcare professionals to do your vaccine. So that's why focus on your business. Rest, leave it to MapRecruit for the talent acquisition. We will make sure everything is seamless and frictionless. Give you a smile on your face.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Swamy. Appreciate you, sir, for hanging out with us.
Thank you very much, Ben. Again, Happy New Year, and looking forward for a great year for everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And to all of you out there, I hope you enjoyed the episode today. Starting off with some big ideas, big insights already. One of the things I didn't get a chance to share there, we're running close on time. One of the things that we've seen, and some of the research out there, some secondary stuff, but it's good quality research, is that candidates, let's come to an experiment with candidates and actually showed them how the algorithms were ranking some of their characteristics, or ranking them in the process. And are you comfortable with this? Are you okay with this? And the ones that gave the most information about how they're being ranked based on their skills and their experiences and things like that, and showed them how those applied and matched to the jobs, those candidates actually referred that to the ones that just said, hey, we're using AI and we're going to help select you for the best job. but didn't give them any actual insight. So the data show that candidates like that transparency, not to go overboard, putting out the code and all the other crazy stuff, but giving them some insight into how they're being matched. That does matter to them. So hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you so much. Again, HR Tech Awards are now open through March, hrtechawards.org. You can learn more there. We will catch you next week on another episode of HR Tech Talks. We're going to talk with a new company that's focusing on care and building a culture of care. It'll be a different kind of conversation, but one that I know you'll enjoy. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a great 2022 ahead.